Hi, Mrs. H Psychology, another revision video, this time for paper 2, approaches, and we're looking specifically at the comparison essay question. So I've got two others already, and this is the third one. So we've done psychoanalytic, psychodynamic, and behaviorist. This time we're looking at the humanist. So once again, let's say we get a question like this. Discuss the humanistic approach, refer to at least one other approach. This is very much a humanistic essay. Okay, so you're going to outline humanism, you're going to evaluate humanism and compare it. And so as part of that analysis, evaluation, discussion is your comparison with at least one other approach. Okay, so if we have a quick look at the key assumptions, this is a recap, a 3-minute recap. So you would obviously need to outline free will, self-actualization, uniqueness and phenomenology, holism and rejection of science as your key assumptions. And then the comparisons are really where you're going to discuss and evaluate the humanistic approach, and you're doing that via these comparisons with others. So let's have a quick look at what we've got. If you want, at the end, if you need other evaluative points, you can also include these. So I'm going to whiz through this, but if you want to have a look at those, pause the screen. But we're going straight into the comparisons. Okay, so here we've got humanist versus behaviorist. So we've got these key areas: objective, whether discussing whether they study human behavior objectively or subjectively, whether they believe in free will determinism, whether they are seen as a very negative or positive approach, holism, reductionism, whether it's conscious or unconscious, the methods used, whether they focus on the past or now, the present, and different therapies. So this should, for my guys, this should be fairly straightforward. If you need some help in terms of these approaches, I've got separate videos talking through the different approaches for you to have a look at. But remember, this is just a 3-minute recap. So if you're going to do comparison, pause the screen, have a look at these, make sure that you can understand these key areas. Okay. So that's behaviorist versus humanist. Going on, I'll show you the psychoanalytic versus humanists, which if you've watched video 1 and 2, you've already had a look at these different areas. So this will be very, very quick. Going on now then to biological versus humanism. So again, pause the screen if you want any longer. Slightly different areas in some cases. Going on, we've got humanism versus SLT, social learning theory. And finally, humanist versus the cognitive approach. Okay, so if we just recap, go back up to our key title again, key essay. All right, so you would have discussed key assumptions of humanism, and then using those comparisons, depending on which approach you're going to use. It may be that they specify one. If not, pick one that you find easy to manipulate with that information. Okay, so if they're asking just one or a couple, then choose the ones that make sense for you in terms of comparisons, where you've got some nice key evaluatives. You don't need to include all of those key areas, but obviously I've covered everything because some of you prefer certain points over others. And that is the third video. I will be doing another one in a moment.